Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about Highguard again. I know I did a short on, the Highguard website getting gone, but now it's coming out that Highguard was basically being bankrolled by Tencent. Yeah, this is supposed to be a plucky little indie game. It was bankrolled by Tencent. I love this headline. This is coming from Massively Overpowered. Tencent would have gotten away with funding Highguard in secret if it hadn't been for you meddling kids. So this whole thing is imploded, and this is coming after all kinds of backlash, not just toward the game, but toward players, right? We had one of the devs going on a tirade against players, saying the players tanked the game and whatever, and they pulled the plug on this thing like 2 weeks. I think it's a record. I think they actually pulled the plug on Highguard faster than Concord, and now the website's down, and we think it's done. We think it's dunsies. We think that Highguard is done. So I'm going to do a full video on this. This is a very interesting turn of events, and look, we weren't really following this one super closely because it's like, oh, look, another AAA title crashes and burns. But the fact that they were very vocal about their dislike for players and gamers who helped tank this game, and then it turns out that Tencent, one of the biggest companies in China, was bankrolling it. That's pretty astounding. That's it's like, so how many other plucky indie games or companies like Tencent and Embracer propping up? And wow. All right, so let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Let's talk about this first. Let's talk about Tencent's involvement, and then we'll talk about where Highguard's at right now. And I know they've lost like 98 or 98.5% of their players in a couple of days. It was insane. Tencent would have gotten away with funding Highguard in secret if it hadn't been for you meddling kids. So they said, have you looked at the melange of drama around Highguard launching and not exactly doing great and wish that drama could never end? We can't promise never, but sure is ongoing right now thanks to a GameFile report that sources familiar with the matter have identified Tencent as one of the major funding sources for the studio Wildlight Entertainment. Wildlight executives have previously declined to identify the source of studio funding, but Tencent's broad foreign investments would make it a likely candidate. I thought they said they came out and said it, but yeah. Of course, readers will know that Tencent has been pulling out of these investments over the last few years. They had layoffs at Funcom for Dune's Awakening, Terrace Land, a bunch of different projects. Yeah, they were investing in a bunch of different things in the West. I think it was kind of like a spray and pray situation. They're like, one of these games will probably hit. Moreover, this isn't the first time Tencent has tried to downplay its role in shepherding Western studios, though it's traditionally been regarded to publishing outfit Level Infinite. So let's see here. The Avatar franchise mobile game, and what do we have here? Ring of Elysium. Okay, that they were involved in that too. One example, 2 years after Tencent's announcement that it had acquired Nightingale's Inflexion Games, reps claim to MOP, that'd be Massively Overpowered, that Tencent didn't own the company and was merely an investor in an attempt to get us to scrub its name from our articles. Wow. Either way, it sure would track that Tencent had been funding Highguard until it wasn't, and explains Highguard's prominent role at the Game Awards, too. Yes. On top of that fact, the game's website vanished yesterday. It doesn't exactly deflate the drama and suspicion that the game is about to implode, but does put in a new light. Yeah, so did Tencent pay off the Game Awards? Did they pay off Jeff Keighley to promote this game? And that's why it came out of nowhere, and people are like, what the hell is this game? This is coming out of nowhere. Because Tencent was throwing some money around, throwing its weight around. So it wasn't real, guys. It's all fake. It's all fake, but it's your fault. So this is Notebook Check says, blame the gamers, backfires. Highguard devs tirade over reviews and memes, draws heavy criticism. So this is, let's see here. Popular streamer Shroud said it gave him Realm Royale vibes, while he mentioned he wasn't happy with the product. He hopes that the updates and patches fix it. Well, good luck with that. They kind of need to nail it, though. Among some of the louder voices is another popular YouTuber, Asmongold, who labeled the game Concord 2. This apparently didn't set well with one of the game's developers, Josh Sobel, who, using his X account, wrote a lengthy view of his own experience. In what appeared to be an attempt more or less at calling out Asmongold without naming him, he published a piece on his now deleted account titled Reflecting on Shipping My First Game. In the post, he goes on to describe the team's general attitude before the games revealed at the Game Awards and the reaction they got when Geoff Keighley presented their game in the final spot. After 2.5 years of passionately working on Highguard, we were ready to reveal it to the world. The future seemed bright. He went on to describe how everyone he knew and internal pre-reveal feedback from unbiased sources had shared similar optimistic sentiments. Then the trailer came out and it was all downhill. You really think that all your friends and family are going to tell you your games are bad? No. They're going to look on the bright side. They're going to try to see the good things, and they're going to try to put a positive spin on it and make you happy. It's toxic positivity. In his post, Josh pointed out that content creators often posted negative content or rage bait to get more engagement and views. See also the mainstream media, guys. You invented it. You invented it. Asmongold pointed out that this was a huge fallacy. Content creators create content that mirrors popular opinion. Yes, 100%. I'm going to put a pin in that because we get a lot of people trying to accuse YouTubers of bringing down movies or comic books or whatever with their toxic negativity. It's like, we don't have that kind of power. The reason these videos blow up is because it echoes the sentiment that's already there. That people are not thrilled with the product. They're not thrilled with the movie. And people tend to find each other through these videos. And they're like, I thought I was the only one who didn't like The Last Jedi. No, it turns out there are quite a few people, which is why it dropped off a cliff at the box office in the second week. And the Star Wars brand has never been the same. That's what's actually going on. But so immediately following in the footsteps of similar ventures that shifted the blame for their product's failure onto the very people they sought to please, he was quick to label any reaction or feedback that didn't align with their opinions as hate. Yes, this never works, right? You just take the L. It's like, you hated the game, you destroyed my game. It's like, no, again, YouTubers don't have that kind of power. If your game failed, it's because not enough people were interested in your game because it didn't look very good. Ranging from comments criticizing characters, like calling their opening hero Atticus or John Video Game, to people posting job applications to McDonald's. At launch, we received over 14,000 review bombs from users with less than an hour of playtime. Okay, that is shit because there's no way they could have known. But many didn't even finish the required tutorial. Asmongold continued to dismantle claims the developer made throughout his video, which admittedly was a lot harsher than it needed to be, but that doesn't negate the truth of what the streamer had stated. You need to just shut the hell up, I think, sometimes. I mean, if it's obvious that people are wrong and they're trying to do a hit job, that's one thing. But there are so many problems now. Now we're seeing what actually was going on here, that the reason this game came out of left field was because Tencent was probably paying the bills, right? So Kotaku said the Highguard website is down as players brace for the worst. Okay, let's see. It is down. Site is unavailable. Yeah, there we go. As spotted by Rebs Gaming and others, earlier today, the official playhighguard.com website was replaced with a simple static page featuring the game's logo and a message that says the site is currently unavailable. It's been down since at least 7:50 a.m. Eastern, and that was 2 days ago. So the Raid Shooter's big reveal as the last teaser of the night at the 2025 Game Awards in December didn't go over as planned, with people turning on the game in seconds, declaring it generic and criticizing whether the world needed another free-to-play online-only shooter. No. The answer is no, and we've told you no. A period of radio silence followed, leading to content creators filling the void with endless amounts of negative videos and online speculation. We really didn't. A lot of people thought it was weird. They're like, what the hell is this game, and why is it getting the most coveted spot, the Game Awards? Again, if this is the case, then Geoff Keighley was probably paid off by Tencent. And that calls all of the Game Awards into question, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Because that's a little weird. When Highguard finally launched in January, it kicked off with over 90,000 concurrent players on Steam before losing nearly all of them within 48 hours. Later updates and 5v5 mode did not bring people back. Layoffs hit Wildlight shortly after. We're talking all this happened within the span of like 2 weeks. The game crashed and burned, I think, faster than Concord. This person says that they're genuinely trying to keep the lights on. They're probably working on moving the site and game servers to... No, I don't think so. I think they're done because it laid a bunch of people off. You'd think that if that was the case, they would have announced planned maintenance or something. Yeah. On top of that, Wildlight themselves gave the go-ahead to the game's character designer to post images of unreleased heroes on our ArtStation. She already posted there are 3 of them. This is not it. That's not how game hosting works. They can dynamically spin up instances that cost less without any changes to live service. Yes. I can't believe people are like, "Oh, it's okay, guys. It's coming back." No, it's not coming back. They're laying people off. They just got outed as probably being propped up by Tencent. And if that is the case, that is going to be a huge ass deal. If that is the case, because people were under the impression it was this plucky indie game that just happened to look like the most generic, AAA title you've ever seen, but people at least thought it was indie, and it's not. My personal opinion says Chemical is Highguard is cooked. I think they could have salvaged it had they played their cards right, but they didn't, which is very hard to do. I feel bad for the creators. I'll admit that watching Concord fall flat in his face gave me a little joy, but at the end of the day, I think they really tried with Highguard and it just didn't find its audience. Concord, yes. Highguard, no. Concord died due to a ton of horrendously poor business decisions made by Sony. Yeah, because they're trying to sell the game too. No, the game had a lot of problems other than that. So this person said, my comment is so obvious it's almost not worth posting. Apparently it's not that obvious since Wildlight did it anyway, but why anyone thought the intersection of the two most overly saturated, quick-to-fail game-type shooters and live service games was appropriate for a studio's debut game is beyond me. Like, I feel bad for the people who will certainly lose their jobs, but the company itself deserves to be shuttered for the pure arrogance and hubris. Betting the entire farm day one on 100-to-1 shot is an idiot's gamble. That is actually very true. And it might not have been them. It might have been Tencent. Tencent might have been like, hey, can you make us another Fortnite? We need another Fortnite or something to keep the money rolling in. I don't know. I have no idea, but it's very interesting. And this is going to be one of the biggest fails, I think, in AAA gaming. And this one might actually help bring down the rest of what is left of AAA gaming, because it was such a massive, massive failure. And companies are going to look at this and be like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous. So expect 2026 to be to have a lot of layoffs, I think, in this industry as it right sizes, because nobody's got, a couple $100 million laying around to finance something like this, except for Tencent. And they're getting burnt all over the place by Western developers. So anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.